What's going on out there, YouTube family? It's the Samuel Legger here representing Team JVS. I have a series review for you guys. It's probably, a lot of you guys have told me about this. I've not seen one trailer. I never saw when YouTube got it as an original. I just knew what it centered and surrounded, which was around The Karate Kid, the 1984 classic, and it was centered around Cobra Kai. But I was like, Johnny and Kreese and them, I was like, I don't care about the villains, you know. Why would I want to see this? And then, like a wave, tons of outpouring. People were like, yo, this is great. Yo, this is amazing. Yo, this is nostalgia. Yo, this is so fun. It got a second season, and it was still thriving pretty well on YouTube. One of the better YouTube originals they've ever done. To the point that it was the end of last year or the beginning of this year, it got announced that both seasons would be coming to to Netflix, and then a third season would be put on Netflix. And so I was like, you know what, let me finally go and check this out. And I gotta say, I personally can't believe I've waited this long to check out this feature. And this is the thing, I'm not the hugest Karate Kid fan. Matter of fact, you know, I think on repeat, you know, I've seen the first one a lot, but I've also seen the second one a lot. I rarely see the third one that much, but, you know what I'm saying, like, I know, you know, the characters. I know Daniel-san. I know Mr. Miyagi. I know Kreese. I know Johnny. Not so much Johnny, because Johnny, he kind of came off as a character that was like, you know, he was just a bully, you know, like, it kind of was a little, like, I kind of felt a little way, you know, when Johnny kind of took the girl, you know, well, not Johnny, but Daniel took Johnny's girl, even if he was being a jerk or not. Like, the way that it kind of went down, it was kind of like, it was a little hazy there, but I was like, you know what, they pushed those borders, they pushed those lines. And it's funny because a lot of the, you know, the CW shows, like, take something like One Tree Hill, those same kind of like dynamics of interaction kind of played from a lot of their rivalries and a lot of the games and the messed up stuff that was going on. It kind of transcended in a whole lot of other different mediums later on down the line. But nonetheless, this show takes place 34 years later with Johnny, and he's taking all these odd jobs, he's drinking excessively, and he has not forgotten about the past at all. And there's nothing about his past that he can forget, because Danny LaRusso, coming off being that champion, like, he literally swept everything. Like, he is, you know, the top tier. Everybody looks to him. Everybody kind of sees him. He's actually gained a good amount of money. He's got a whole family. He's got a wife. He's got a daughter. He's got a son. And, you know, Johnny kind of just lost himself and lost everything around him, and nobody looks up to him. Nobody thinks of him in any kind of good regard. And you find out later on, even the legacy of Cobra Kai in and of itself is frowned upon. A lot of people kind of look at Cobra Kai as like, no, like, you guys are terrible, you know. And so it starts off with him, you know, interacting with this neighbor that he has named Miguel. Now, Miguel Diaz, he is what I would say, he's kind of like a pseudo version of Daniel, honestly. Like, he's geeky, but he's not like uncool. Like, he knows what's right and wrong. He knows when to stand up for people, and he's not afraid to do what he really feels he should do. But, you know, the surrounding terms around him, you know, dictate what he's gonna be, because he doesn't know how to fight. He doesn't, you know, have a status, and he's new to the school, and his mother doesn't want him to fight. And, you know, one time he gets into this altercation with these same bullies, and they're about to like beat him up really bad. And instead of, you know, Johnny kind of just sitting idly by, they mess with his car for real. That's the reason why he got in. He jumps in. Miguel was like, yo, can you teach me how to fight? And he's like, nah. But something later on down the line triggers him. And it's one of the things that's the beauty of this series, is that there's so many callbacks. There's beautiful transitional callbacks. And I think that from a distributional rights standpoint, I think that they had to have gotten full rights and distributions to be able to use this footage from the originals. And I think that main director was John Hurwitz. The writers, it's a ton of writers, a ton of directors on this. But I have to give them so much credit because this really does feel like an organically set, stage. Like, it's not like, okay, they're trying, yes, there's certain things in the first season specifically that literally is a callback to the first one. But the lines are completely blurred now because initially, Johnny goes and takes Miguel on his wing, teaches him the ways of Cobra Kai, strike first, no mercy, yada, yada, yada. And, Danny, he has some kind of moment where he meets up with Johnny. And he's still traumatized. Even though he won, he's still laying over this trauma. And because of that, he kind of comes off as an antagonist. But really, the lines are blurred all over the place because Miguel, his friends like Eli or Hawk, what was the girl's name? Aisha, they're all getting bullied. And so it's like Cobra Kai was a way for them to get out of that. Cobra Kai was an opportunity for them to be able to kind of boost their morale, but also become something completely different. And like, these are the lines, and it keeps going like this throughout the series. There's some episodes you're like, yo, that was fully justified. Like, Miguel, you did the right thing. Then you're kind of like, Miguel, I don't know if that was the right thing to do. And the crazy part about it is it's all pinpointed from Danny and Johnny. Johnny has something that he's trying to get out. He's trying to prove to himself and come from the ashes, essentially. And he's becoming a better person. But in becoming a better person, he's realizing that the foundations that he was built on were not good foundations. Even though they kept him alive, even though they kept him strong, they weren't fundamentally good foundations to pass on. And it's kind of like, it plays even more interesting when it comes to like his son. Like Robbie, like he grew up kind of without a father, even though his dad was there, he wasn't. And that plays a very interesting role down the line, which I don't want to spoil. It's worth watching when it comes to a character like Daniel, which Daniel, remember from the original, his dad died and he didn't have anybody. He didn't have any father figure. Mr. Miyagi was his father figure. And so kind of like, the symbolicism between Manuel and Johnny, Danny, he's put in this situation where he has to kind of do something very similar. And it's weird. It's so weird because in the cut, he's got a whole daughter. And his daughter is dealing with, these teen angst and peer pressures and people telling her she should be this or shouldn't say that. And that costs her some relationships. That costs her even her dignity in even a school setting. And it's an interesting transformation for every single character, which is weird because I wouldn't think like a character like Eli or Hawk, who started off, not saying anything, to being like a dominant, very intricately made character. Whether he is a good person or not at this point, I don't know. And I think that's what makes this so interesting. Because initially, again, I told you guys, I didn't want to see this show because I was like, I ain't really messing with the Cobra Kai's like that. Like, I ain't repping that. Like, it's all, Miyagi dojo all day. You know what I'm saying? But this makes for a very interesting story. Now, again, there is a lot of cheese. There is a lot of callbacks. There's a lot of, fan service to those that loved like the originals. But it's respectful. It's not distasteful. It's not too much. And it makes sure that you realize this is its own story. Even, again, Daniel LaRusso, he's not always the good guy. And I love that. And it's like, you would think, Johnny is consistently the bad guy, but he's not. And every single character plays their own role to that. Every single one. There was a moment, like, even like the mom, Amanda LaRussell. I was kind of like, yo, you being an enabler, yo. I don't know if you, I don't know, like, where you trying to go? And her character even changes. Like, I love that there's not a spot on, you know, connection with every single character. Like, they definitely evolve and progress, and they have layers, and they also spend time, you know, evolving and progressing these characters. Like, every single character gets a moment to be able to shine, from the smallest to the biggest. And there is some good, interesting humor. Like, when the humor hits, it's actually pretty funny. This is the thing. After every single episode, I guarantee you, if you even had like a semblance of love for the original Karate Kid, you're gonna be like, you're gonna get done with the episode just like this, and it's like, yo, I love it. Like, for real, I came to be like, every single episode, I was like, yo, I'm loving this. Yo, this is dope. Yo, I can't believe how cheesy this is, but I love it. Like, there's one episode that takes place after a party, and I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say a fight breaks out, and I was kind of a little in shock, because I was like, yo, where is this about to go? Like, I really was caught off guard. And there are moments like that in this series. And so I think that they did a good job of putting this on Netflix, because it does fit right into Netflix's veins. The only real worry that I have is that I hope and I pray that the integrity of the show, from the writers and from who developed this and created this, isn't compromised in any way, shape, or form by what Netflix wants. Because if it does, then, you know, I will be hurt at this point. Like, I am now a fan of Cobra Kai. I can say, if you haven't seen Cobra Kai, now is the time. Go and check it out. I'm excited to check out the second season. I'm waiting for my wife to complete the first season, and we're gonna start back on the second season. I might just go and start looking at it. But the third season was scheduled to come out 2020, but I don't know, because of COVID, if they're gonna push it back to 2021. We'll see. But yo, go and check out Cobra Kai on Netflix immediately. I'll talk to you guys later on. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Peace, guys.